Your soulmate is coming with a hidden secret. Archangel Michael says open this first. Stay with me, and don't rush past this moment, because this message is not arriving by accident. There are times when something unseen begins to move long before anything changes on the surface. This is one of those times. You may feel it as restlessness, curiosity, or a quiet pull you can't explain. That feeling is not imagination. It's preparation. Your soulmate is coming toward you carrying something they have never fully spoken out loud. A truth they have kept folded inside themselves, not because they wanted to deceive you, but because they didn't know how to face it yet. And before that truth is revealed, there is something you need to understand first. That's why this message is here now. Archangel Michael's energy is not soft or vague. It is clear, protective, and direct. When his presence is felt, it is usually because clarity is needed before movement happens. He comes when confusion must be cut away, when fear needs to be named, and when truth needs to stand on solid ground. Right now, the message is not about judging your soulmate or preparing for betrayal. It's about preparing your heart so that when the secret comes into the open, it doesn't shake you, confuse you, or pull you back into old emotional patterns. Your soulmate's secret is not something small. It's something that shaped the way they showed up with you. Something that influenced their hesitation, their silence, their mixed signals, or their emotional distance. It may be connected to their past, a choice they regret, a truth about their feelings, or a fear they've never admitted, even to themselves. What matters most is this: the secret was never about a lack of feeling for you. If anything, it existed because the feelings were real. People don't hide truths when nothing is at stake. They hide them when acknowledging them would change everything. Your soulmate has been standing at the edge of that change for a while now. They've felt it approaching. They've tried to control it. They've told themselves they'd deal with it later. Later has arrived. Before they step forward with this truth, Archangel Michael's message is directed at you. Not to warn you away, but to strengthen you. To help you stand in clarity instead of emotion alone. To help you hear what is said without losing your center. You are not being asked to prepare for pain. You are being asked to prepare for honesty. There is a difference. Honesty can feel intense, but it also brings relief. It ends confusion. It replaces imagination with reality. It gives you the power to choose instead of wait. Your soulmate has been carrying internal conflict. On one side, the connection with you that feels grounding, real, and different from what they've known before. On the other side, a truth they didn't want to face because it would force them to make decisions they weren't ready for. This secret may involve something unresolved from their past. It may involve another person, a commitment, a promise, or an identity they've been trying to outgrow. It may involve a mistake they are ashamed of, or a fear that they believe makes them unworthy of what you offer. What Archangel Michael wants you to know is this: whatever the secret is, it does not define your worth, and it does not take away your power. The danger is not the truth. The danger is receiving the truth while standing in self-doubt. That's why this message comes first. You've spent enough time wondering what was unsaid. Enough time reading between lines. Enough time carrying emotional weight that was never fully yours. This moment is not here to put more burden on you. It's here to lift it. Your soulmate has been watching you change. Even if they haven't said it, they've felt it. You are calmer now. Less reactive. Less willing to chase clarity. More rooted in yourself. That shift changed the dynamic between you. It made hiding harder. When someone stands firmly in their own energy, secrets start to feel heavy. Lies of omission start to feel loud. Avoidance becomes uncomfortable. Your presence has quietly forced your soulmate to look at themselves more honestly than they planned to. That's why the truth is coming now. But hear this clearly, you are not here to rescue them from their secret. You are not here to absorb their guilt, justify their choices, or soften their accountability. Archangel Michael's energy is firm about this. You are here to listen from strength, not sacrifice. The secret your soulmate carries may shock you at first, not because it's cruel, but because it explains so much. It will connect dots you've been holding separately in your mind. Their hesitation. Their timing. Their emotional push and pull. Their fear of fully stepping forward. Understanding can be powerful, but only if you don't confuse understanding with obligation. This is where discernment matters. Archangel Michael is reminding you that compassion does not mean self-abandonment. Love does not mean accepting confusion. And spiritual connection does not require you to tolerate what destabilizes your peace. You are allowed to hear the truth and still choose what is best for you. That choice will only be clear if you are grounded first. That's why the message says, open this first. Open your clarity. Open your boundaries. Open your awareness. Not your wounds. Your soulmate's secret is a doorway, not a verdict. It opens a conversation, not a sentence you must live with. Once it is spoken, the energy between you will change. It has to. Truth rearranges dynamics. But rearrangement doesn't mean destruction. Sometimes it means alignment. Sometimes it means release. Sometimes it means a new beginning built on honesty instead of hope alone. Archangel Michael stands for truth with protection. That means whatever unfolds next, you are not meant to be harmed by it. You are meant to be informed, empowered, and steady. Pay attention in the coming days. You may notice your soulmate becoming more introspective, more quiet, or suddenly more serious. You may sense urgency beneath their words. That is the pressure of truth rising. Do not rush them. Do not interrogate them. Do not soften yourself to make it easier for them. Let them come forward in their own timing, because when the truth is offered freely, it reveals more than when it is forced. And when they do speak, remember this moment. Remember that you were prepared not to react, but to choose. You are not here to be surprised. You are here to be sovereign. Whatever the secret is, it is no longer stronger than you. Archangel Michael's presence signals this. The truth coming toward you is meant to bring clarity, not chaos. Power, not pain. Choice, not confusion. This is only the beginning of the message. What comes next will depend on how the truth is received, and what you decide to do with it once it's finally spoken. Stay grounded. Stay present. Stay with yourself. The truth is approaching, and you are ready to meet it. Stay with me, because this part is where the hidden truth your soulmate carries begins to press against their conscience in a way they can no longer ignore. This is the phase where silence becomes heavier than speaking, where avoidance starts to feel like betrayal, not of you, but of themselves. Since the moment this message reached you, something has already been shifting on their side. They may not fully understand it yet, but there is a sense of urgency growing inside them. A feeling that time is no longer neutral. That continuing as they were will cost them something real. Your soulmate is standing at an internal crossroads. On one side is the version of themselves that has survived by hiding, postponing, and managing emotions instead of living honestly with them. On the other side is the version that wants to step forward, even if that means discomfort, vulnerability, and accountability. The secret they carry lives exactly at that crossroads. It is important for you to understand something clearly here. The secret is not just information. It is emotion, memory, fear, and unfinished business all wrapped into one. It is something they have rehearsed telling you many times in their head, only to stop themselves right before the words form. Not because they don't trust you, but because telling you would change how they have to show up afterward. Truth doesn't just reveal things. It demands alignment. And alignment has consequences. Your soulmate has been aware, on some level, that the longer they waited, the more complicated this became. They told themselves they were protecting you. They told themselves they were waiting for the right time. They told themselves they would explain everything once things were clearer. But clarity doesn't arrive on its own. It arrives when someone chooses honesty over comfort. Archangel Michael's presence here is not gentle reassurance, it is steady pressure. It is the energy that says, you cannot move forward while carrying something unspoken that affects another person's heart. And your soulmate feels that pressure now. They are replaying moments with you differently. Moments they once thought were neutral now feel charged with meaning. They see how many times they almost told you the truth. How many times they felt the words rise in their chest and push them back down. They're realizing that the secret shaped the dynamic between you more than they admitted. It influenced how close they allowed themselves to get. How much they held back. Why they hesitated when things felt too real. This realization brings both fear and relief. Fear, because exposure feels risky. Relief, because carrying the secret has been exhausting. They are tired of holding two versions of themselves, the one you see and the one that knows what's hidden. That split creates tension, and tension eventually demands resolution. You may feel this energetically. A sense that something is approaching. That conversations feel heavier. That their presence feels more deliberate or more distant than usual. This is not coincidence. Emotional truth moves before words do. But here is what Archangel Michael wants you to hear clearly in this part: you are not meant to receive this truth in a place of emotional vulnerability. You are meant to receive it from a place of sovereignty. That means you are allowed to pause. You are allowed to process. You are allowed to respond instead of react. You do not owe immediate understanding or forgiveness or reassurance. The secret may challenge the story you've been telling yourself. It may confirm some suspicions you've quietly carried. Or it may surprise you in ways you didn't expect. Whatever form it takes, it will reveal something essential about where your soulmate truly is in their growth. And that information is power. For a long time, you have been intuitive. You felt that something was being withheld. You sensed layers beneath what was being said. You questioned moments that didn't quite add up. You weren't imagining that. Your intuition was reading what hadn't been spoken yet. Now, that intuition is being honored, not tested. This part of the journey is not about proving your emotional strength by staying calm or spiritual. It's about being honest with yourself about what you can and cannot accept going forward. Archangel Michael stands for protection through truth. That means protecting you from sacrificing your peace in the name of understanding someone else's wounds. You can understand the reason behind the secret without excusing the impact of it. That distinction matters. Your soulmate's fear has been rooted in one core belief, that if you knew everything, you might choose differently. That belief reveals how much they value you, and how afraid they are of losing you. But love that hides truth eventually undermines itself. They are beginning to see that now. There is also something important happening inside you at the same time. You are less attached to outcomes than you once were. You are not clinging to hope the way you used to. You are grounded in yourself. That grounding changes how this truth will land. You are not waiting for the secret to validate your worth. You are not dependent on it to make a decision. You are not afraid of what it might reveal about you. You are curious, but steady. That steadiness is your protection. When the secret comes out, it may feel heavy at first. That's natural. Truth often lands with weight because it collapses multiple timelines at once. The past, the present, and the future all meet in one moment. Give yourself permission to feel whatever arises without judgment. Shock doesn't mean weakness. Confusion doesn't mean failure. Silence doesn't mean avoidance. Sometimes silence is discernment. Your soulmate will be watching your response closely, not to control it, but because they are bracing for consequence. They know that speaking the truth means surrendering control over how the story continues. That surrender is necessary. And here's something important to remember: whether they tell the truth with clarity or with hesitation will tell you more than the content of the secret itself. Honesty spoken with responsibility feels different than honesty spoken with fear. Pay attention to that. You are not here to carry them through their confession. You are here to witness it and then decide what alignment looks like for you. That decision does not need to be immediate. Archangel Michael's energy supports pauses. Supports clarity over reaction. Supports strength that does not rush. You may feel an urge to rescue them from discomfort. To reassure them. To minimize the impact so things can feel normal again. But normal is no longer the goal. Alignment is. Whatever happens next, this part marks a turning point. Once truth is spoken, the connection cannot return to ambiguity. It must either deepen with honesty or separate with clarity. Both paths are forms of protection. You are not here to lose yourself to love. You are here to meet love as yourself. The secret coming toward you is not meant to destabilize you. It is meant to remove the last layer of uncertainty so that you are no longer guessing. Guessing drains the soul. Truth gives it ground. As this unfolds, remember this: you are allowed to choose what feels safe, respectful, and aligned with your growth, even if that choice surprises them. Archangel Michael does not stand for sacrifice without truth. He stands for courage with integrity. The next phase will reveal not just the secret, but the level of responsibility your soulmate is willing to take for it. And that will tell you everything you need to know about what comes next. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay in your body. You are not approaching this moment from fear anymore. You are approaching it from strength. Stay with me, because this part is where the truth your soulmate has been carrying begins to reshape not just the connection, but your inner landscape. This is the phase where the secret is no longer just something they hold. It becomes something you have to respond to, not emotionally, but consciously. And that distinction changes everything. When the truth finally starts to surface, it doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in fragments. In tone. In pauses. In the way their eyes avoid yours for a moment longer than usual. In how their words feel heavier, more deliberate. You may sense it before it's fully spoken, that something is forming, something they've rehearsed in silence so many times that now it's pressing against their breath. Your soulmate is afraid, but not in the way you might think. They're not afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being seen accurately. Because once the secret is out, they can no longer hide behind uncertainty, timing, or emotional fog. The truth removes their escape routes. And that's why this moment matters so much. You are standing in a very different place now than you would have been months ago. Before, you might have received this truth from a place of fear, fear of loss, fear of abandonment, fear of being alone. You might have bent yourself to accommodate it, to understand it, to make it easier for them to stay. That version of you no longer exists. Now, you are grounded. Present. Whole. And because of that, the truth doesn't knock you off balance the way it once might have. It may still sting. It may still surprise you. But it does not destabilize your sense of self. That is your strength. Your soulmate feels this difference immediately. They can sense that you are listening, not clinging. Present, but not dissolving. And that changes how the truth comes out. They realize they cannot soften it to protect you, because you are not fragile in this moment. You are discerning. As they speak, or as the truth reveals itself through conversation or circumstance, you begin to understand something important. The secret was not just about what they did or didn't do. It was about who they were afraid to become. The secret may involve a past relationship that never fully ended emotionally. A commitment they weren't ready to release. A mistake they never forgave themselves for. A fear that they believed made them unworthy of what you offered. Whatever its form, it carries one common thread: avoidance. They avoided facing it because facing it meant choosing differently. It meant growing. It meant stepping out of patterns that once kept them safe but now keep them stuck. And you were never meant to fix that for them. This realization settles into you quietly. You don't feel angry the way you expected. You don't feel the urge to argue or defend yourself. Instead, you feel clarity rising. Clarity about what you can empathize with and what you cannot carry. Empathy does not mean absorption. Understanding does not mean agreement. Love does not mean self-sacrifice. Those truths feel embodied now, not theoretical. You notice how your body responds as the truth unfolds. Where there is tension, where there is calm. Your body is guiding you toward honesty with yourself. And for the first time, you trust it completely. Your soulmate may look relieved after speaking, as if a weight has been lifted. Or they may look uncertain, bracing for rejection. Either way, the responsibility has shifted. The truth has been placed in the open. Now comes the moment that truly matters: what happens next? This is where Archangel Michael's guidance becomes unmistakable. His energy does not rush decisions. It sharpens discernment. It encourages you to pause. Not to delay, but to see. You are allowed to take space. You are allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to say, "I need time." Your worth is not measured by how quickly you respond or how gently you cushion their discomfort. If the secret revealed explains their past behavior, that does not automatically justify it. Explanation is not the same as repair. Awareness is not the same as accountability. And you are deeply aware of that now. You begin to notice whether they speak from responsibility or relief. Whether they own the impact of the secret or focus only on how hard it was to carry. Whether they ask about your experience or center their own. These details matter more than the secret itself. Because the future of this connection is not decided by what was hidden, it is decided by how truth is handled now. You may feel compassion for the fear they lived with. You may even feel tenderness for the version of them that didn't know how to step forward sooner. But compassion does not override boundaries anymore. You are no longer willing to live in a dynamic where honesty arrives only after pressure builds. That chapter has closed. You also notice something surprising: your sense of power does not come from control. It comes from choice. From knowing that you do not have to decide anything in this moment to prove your love, your maturity, or your spiritual growth. You are not being tested. You are being informed. That shift changes everything. Your soulmate may hope that speaking the truth restores closeness immediately. They may hope the connection resets. They may hope forgiveness comes quickly. But healing does not work that way, not when growth is real. Truth is the beginning, not the resolution. And you are strong enough to honor that process without rushing it. You may find yourself asking different questions now. Not, "Can I understand this?" but, "Can I live with what this requires going forward?" Not, "Do I still love them?" but, "Does this connection support the life I am building?" Those questions come from self-respect. And self-respect is not negotiable anymore. Archangel Michael's presence here is steady, not dramatic. It feels like a hand on your back reminding you that you do not have to abandon yourself to keep a connection alive. That any path forward must be built on transparency, consistency, and mutual effort. Anything less will not last. You may also notice a sense of grief arising, not necessarily for the secret itself, but for the version of the connection you hoped for. The version that existed before you knew everything. Grief for innocence is natural. Let it move through you. Grief does not mean you made the wrong choices. It means you cared. And caring deeply while choosing yourself is one of the most courageous things a person can do. As this part unfolds, remember this above all else: you are not here to be tested by love. You are here to experience love that grows with you, not at your expense. Whether this truth leads to deeper alignment or a respectful separation, you are protected. Not because the outcome will be easy, but because you are no longer lost inside it. You are awake. You are present. You are choosing from clarity instead of fear. And that means whatever comes next will be built on truth, not illusion. Stay grounded. Stay honest. Stay with yourself. This is not the end of the story. This is the moment where it finally becomes real. Stay with me, because this part is where everything slows down in a way that feels unfamiliar, but necessary. This is the space after truth has been spoken, when the noise fades and reality settles in. It's the moment where neither of you can hide behind confusion anymore, and the connection stands exactly as it is, without filters, without imagination filling in the gaps. After the secret is revealed, there is often a strange silence. Not the awkward kind. The heavy kind. The kind where both people are absorbing what has changed. Your soulmate may seem quieter than usual, more careful with their words, more aware of your presence. That's because the truth didn't just leave their mouth, it rearranged their inner world. They no longer have the protection of the unknown. For a long time, the secret allowed them to control distance. It let them decide how close to come, how much to give, when to pull back. Now that control is gone. The truth has placed them on equal ground with you, and equality can feel exposed to someone who has relied on emotional shields. They may feel relief first. Relief that they don't have to carry it alone anymore. Relief that the tension they've been living with has finally surfaced. But relief is often followed by vulnerability. And vulnerability is where real character shows. This is where you begin to see them more clearly than ever before. Not the version shaped by charm, fear, or avoidance. But the version that emerges when they have nothing left to hide. You notice how they handle your reaction. Whether they give you space or demand reassurance. Whether they allow your feelings to exist or try to manage them. Whether they listen or defend. Whether they take responsibility or explain themselves endlessly. These moments matter. They matter more than apologies. More than intentions. More than promises about the future. Because this is where patterns either break or repeat. And you, standing where you are now, are not the same person who once would have rushed to soothe, to fix, to carry emotional weight that wasn't yours. You feel the impulse briefly, but you don't act on it automatically anymore. You pause. That pause is power. You are learning that silence can be a response. That space can be an answer. That not knowing immediately what to do does not mean you are weak, it means you are listening to yourself. Your soulmate may struggle with this pause. They may misinterpret it as distance or rejection. They may feel anxious, wondering if they've already lost you. That anxiety is not something you need to resolve for them. It belongs to them. You are allowed to take the time you need to feel your way through what has been revealed. You are allowed to sit with the truth without rushing to forgive, to forget, or to decide. This is discernment. Discernment is not coldness. It's wisdom in motion. As days pass, you begin to feel what remains steady and what doesn't. Some parts of the connection may still feel strong. Familiar. Warm. Other parts may feel fragile or strained. You don't push either feeling away. You let them coexist. You are no longer trying to force clarity. You are letting clarity emerge. Your soulmate, meanwhile, is facing consequences they hadn't fully anticipated. Not punishment, but reality. They are seeing how their silence shaped your experience. How their avoidance created uncertainty. How their fear had weight, even when unspoken. This awareness may humble them, or it may overwhelm them. Not everyone knows how to grow once truth is exposed. Some people rise to it. Some retreat. Some try to rush past it. You are watching closely now, not to judge, but to understand. And something inside you is calm while you observe. That calm is new. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care without losing yourself. It means you are grounded enough to let someone show you who they are after truth, not just before it. You're also noticing something else. The secret itself is no longer the center of your attention. What matters more now is what life with this truth would actually feel like. Would it feel stable? Would it feel respectful? Would it feel emotionally safe over time? These questions are not dramatic. They are practical. And practical questions build real futures. You are beginning to understand that love is not just about connection, it's about sustainability. It's about whether two people can walk forward together without one constantly compensating for the other's wounds. You don't want to carry what isn't yours anymore. And you don't feel guilty for that. This is a big shift. In the past, you may have believed that love meant endurance. That understanding someone meant absorbing their pain. That staying meant proving your depth. Now you see love differently. Love means mutual responsibility. Love means emotional honesty without delay. Love means growth that doesn't require one person to shrink. This understanding didn't come easily. It came through experience. Through heartbreak. Through self-reflection. And because of that, you trust it. Your soulmate may start trying to show change quickly. Promises. Declarations. Emotional intensity. Be mindful of this phase. Real change does not rush to convince. It unfolds steadily. You are not impressed by urgency alone anymore. You are watching for consistency. You're also watching how they handle your boundaries. Whether they respect your need for time. Whether they pressure you for reassurance. Whether they allow uncertainty without trying to control the outcome. Boundaries reveal maturity. And maturity is what you need now, not words. You may also feel grief surfacing in this stage. Not just grief over the secret, but grief over what you hoped the connection would be before truth complicated it. That grief is valid. It's the grief of letting go of an imagined version of the future. Let it move through you. Grief does not mean failure. It means you're honest about what mattered to you. And here is the quiet realization that begins to anchor you. You will be okay, regardless of how this unfolds. That knowing changes everything. You're no longer afraid of losing them. You're more concerned with losing alignment. You're no longer trying to preserve the connection at all costs. You're protecting your peace. Peace is not something you negotiate anymore. You understand now that truth doesn't guarantee togetherness. It guarantees clarity. And clarity allows you to choose without illusion. If the path forward includes rebuilding together, it will be built slowly, transparently, and with shared effort. If the path forward includes separation, it will be grounded in honesty, not confusion. Either way, you are not walking blindly anymore. You are awake. And awakening is not loud. It is steady. It is quiet. It is rooted. As this part continues to unfold, keep listening to yourself. Not just to what is said, but to how you feel after conversations. To how your body responds. To whether your life feels lighter or heavier with this truth present. Your body knows before your mind does. You don't need to have all the answers today. You don't need to define the future in one conversation. You are allowed to let time reveal what words cannot. This is not a waiting period. This is a witnessing period. You are witnessing who they become when there is nothing left to hide. And you are witnessing who you are when you no longer abandon yourself for love. That is powerful. And whatever comes next will come from this place, not fear, not fantasy, but truth lived in real time. Stay here. Stay grounded. Stay with yourself. You are not losing anything in this phase. You are gaining clarity, and clarity always leads you where you need to go. Stay with me, because this part is where the deepest shift happens, so quietly that you might miss it if you're only looking for dramatic signs. This is the stage where the truth has already done its work, and now life begins to rearrange itself around what you finally know. Not in a rush. Not in chaos. But in a slow, honest rebalancing that centers you more than it centers the connection. After everything has been said and absorbed, you may notice that your inner world feels different. Not lighter in a celebratory way. Not heavier in a painful way. Just clearer. Like a fog has lifted and revealed the shape of things as they really are. You're no longer guessing. You're no longer filling in emotional blanks. You're no longer carrying questions that never had answers. That clarity changes how you show up. You're calmer in conversations now. You don't over-explain. You don't rush to reassure. You don't soften your truth to keep the peace. You speak when something matters. You pause when something feels off. You trust yourself enough to let silence exist without panicking about what it means. That alone changes the entire dynamic. Your soulmate feels this shift immediately. They may not name it, but they sense that you're no longer emotionally leaning toward them for stability. You're standing on your own ground. That can feel grounding to someone who is ready to grow, or unsettling to someone who relied on imbalance to feel safe. And this is where the connection reveals its true direction. You're no longer asking yourself whether you can understand their secret. You already do. Understanding came naturally once the truth was out. What you're asking now is something far more important. What does staying connected actually require from both of you? Not in theory. Not in intention. But in daily reality. You're noticing patterns more clearly. Whether they follow through on what they say. Whether their actions align with their remorse or awareness. Whether growth shows up consistently or only when things feel at risk. You're not watching to catch them doing something wrong. You're watching to see if change has roots. Change without roots doesn't last. This is also the part where you stop romanticizing the role you played in their life. You don't see yourself as the one who awakened them or triggered their growth. That narrative once gave meaning to the pain, but you no longer need it. You're not here to be someone's lesson. You're here to live your life. That realization is grounding. It removes the emotional pedestal you may have placed them on without realizing it. They're human to you now. Capable of growth, yes, but also capable of limitation. And you're no longer willing to build a future around potential alone. You may notice that some days you feel closer to them, and other days you feel more distant. This fluctuation is natural. It's your system integrating new information. You don't judge those shifts anymore. You let them inform you. Distance doesn't scare you now. It informs you. You're also becoming more honest with yourself about what you need in order to feel safe, valued, and respected. Not what you should need. Not what sounds spiritually evolved. But what you actually need as a human being. You need transparency that doesn't arrive under pressure. You need consistency that doesn't depend on fear of loss. You need emotional presence that doesn't disappear when things get uncomfortable. These needs don't feel negotiable anymore. And here's the quiet truth you may not have said out loud yet: you're okay if this connection doesn't survive this phase. That doesn't mean you don't care. It means you trust yourself enough to choose peace over attachment. That trust changes how you breathe, how you sleep, how you imagine tomorrow. You're not bracing for impact anymore. You're observing. Your soulmate, on the other hand, may be in a very different internal place. They may feel exposed. They may feel pressure to prove something. They may swing between determination and doubt. Between wanting to step forward and wanting to retreat into old patterns. You are not responsible for stabilizing them through that. They have to learn how to stand in truth on their own. And you are finally allowing that. You may notice moments where you instinctively want to help, to guide, to soften. Those instincts come from your empathy. But now, you pause before acting on them. You ask yourself whether helping in that moment supports your well-being, or undermines it. That pause is growth. You are no longer confusing love with labor. You are also noticing how your life outside this connection is expanding again. You're more engaged with your own goals. More present with friends. More invested in things that nourish you. The connection is no longer the center of your emotional universe. It's part of your life, not the definition of it. That shift doesn't weaken love. It balances it. And balanced love is sustainable. You also realize something else that feels important. The secret, as heavy as it once felt, is no longer the most significant thing between you. What matters more now is how both of you live in the open space it created. Truth doesn't end stories. It reveals which ones can continue. And you are watching that unfold without forcing an outcome. You've learned that patience doesn't mean waiting indefinitely. It means allowing things to show you what they are. You're patient with the process, but you're not postponing your own life. That distinction protects you. If your soulmate steps into consistency, accountability, and emotional availability, not just in words but over time, you will feel it. You won't need convincing. Your body will relax. Your mind will quiet. If they don't, you will feel that too. And you won't panic. You won't collapse. You won't bargain. You'll grieve what could have been, and then you'll keep moving. That strength didn't come from detachment. It came from self-connection. You are connected to yourself now in a way you weren't before this journey began. You know your limits. You know your values. You know what love feels like when it nourishes instead of drains. That knowledge stays with you regardless of what happens next. This part is not about deciding today. It's about living truthfully while time does its work. It's about letting actions speak louder than explanations. It's about honoring your emotional intelligence instead of overriding it. You don't need to announce boundaries dramatically. You live them. You don't need to threaten departure. Your steadiness speaks for you. You don't need to prove strength. You embody it.
Hello friends, here are the most important things to hold on to as this phase continues. You are not walking towards less, you are walking towards alignment, alignment with yourself, alignment with your values, alignment with the kind of love that meets you fully. Whether that alignment includes this person or not will become clear, not because you force it, but because truth always clarifies over time. You are no longer afraid of that clarity. You are ready for it. Stay present, stay honest, stay connected to yourself. This chapter is no longer about secrets, it's about choice, and you are finally choosing from a place of strength. Thanks for watching. Like this channel, subscribe this video, and also comment for anything else.